Well, hello, hello. This is Karin Zoe Lee, and you're listening to Lotus Moon Productions. Welcome to LMP Music. Whatever the music, whatever the tune, we're here to learn, discuss, and promote the independent music scene. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the next 45 minutes as Shugo Hanasaki tackles the music industry one artist at a time.
Welcome to the music side of Lotus Moon Productions. Today I'm introducing a synthwave artist who has released quite the collection of music over the past decade, with early tracks between 2005 and 2015 with artists like DJ Yellow, Ben Macklin, Med Sound, DJ DLG, Zoo Brazil, Lifelike, Lank, and Inkfish, and many, many more. There's plenty to dive into from this artist of the hour. Over the past few years, she has been making a name for herself within the synth scene with her debut album, The Knight in Shining Armor, in 2017, and then released her second album in 2019 entitled Strangers on Film. And if that wasn't enough, she released Hazy Paradise last year and an EP just a few weeks ago with All the Damn Vampires. What a career this artist has had so far, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for her. So without further ado, please help me welcome the wonderful Yota to the show. How's it going today?
Wow, thank you. It's like, do you want to marry me? This introduction was just awesome. I'm doing well, thank you. But this is, wow, amazing. I'm doing really well, and I'm happy that you asked me for this interview. Really, yeah.
I'm absolutely honored to have you on, and I mean, people make it easy with people thank me for their introductions, but at the same time, they make it easy with such a career. I mean, it's 10, 15 years worth of material. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. You're kind. Thank you.
It's really, and also it's really nice chatting with you again as well. I mean, as some people know, last weekend it was you and 10 others, and we all just had quite a fun time on a little video chat there that we had on Skype. I think it was a special shout out to everybody who came. I'm trying to think of all the names now. It was you, it was Lau, there was Karin Lee, Ethan from Hedonic, the Tilt Vlad, Blake Carpenter, and oh my gosh,
Artie.
Artie, well, yes, of course, my partner Artie. Yes, of course, my partner, Neon Fox from Night Ride. I feel like I'm forgetting some. The Future Kids was there. So oh my gosh, I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, and if I am,
it's okay. No, but it's okay. I mean, we were, I don't know how many we were in the beginning, like 10 plus or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Oh, and Scott from Elevate the Sky. Absolutely, Scott. Can't forget about
the guy from LA. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was an amazing chat. Just we had a fantastic time last Saturday.
We did.
I mean, I can't wait to do it again sometime. But
I want to do it like very soon. I have an awesome. I don't know if I think I posted on social media. I've never been on Skype for 6.5 hours.
Me neither.
You neither. Is it 6.5 hours?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yep.
I loved it. I loved every minute of it. So yeah. So what do you want to know? Tell me.
Well, today it's all about your journey, and I'm so excited to dive into it. Now, I know on previous interviews that you've had, there might be similar questions, but at the same time, there could be new listeners. So we'll just start off from the beginning and go from there. How's that sound?
It's perfect. All good. Yeah.
So speaking of the beginning, your origins as an artist, like as I said, I know some things get covered in other interviews, but my first question was, what brought you into music? I mean, I imagine there must have been many influences for you. I recall learning that you were born in Sweden and now you reside in Paris, but what made you decide to become a singer, and growing up, what inspirations brought you to this point?
Yeah, so it is quite interesting because my father, he was actually a singer, but it wasn't his main profession. He got a offer to release some kind of album or something, but he said no. He was like, I think he was a bit stage fright or something like that. But my dad used to be like he was super talented. Unfortunately, he passed last year, but he was really, really super skilled singer. And like 1,000 times better than me. But anyway, interestingly enough, that wasn't something that I thought about becoming like a singer or something. I actually planned to become an artist, like a painter, or like, so I went to art school in Stockholm, and that was my goal. But then something happened. Yeah, I actually met a friend of mine, and she was like she passed as well. But she was like one of my best friends, and she was like 40 or 30 or 40 years older than me. We met through because I had a dog and she had a dog, and you know how it is when you have a dog and then just start to chat with people and stuff. And she was an artist. She was a manager for like artists, partially in New York as well, for soul artists in New York. But she was living in Sweden at that time. And once we were in the car, and she was playing Al Green, and I started to sing like this. I started to imitate Al Green, kind of like joking around, but at the same time not. And I was doing this falsetto vocal, and then she just kind of like almost like stops the car, and she's like, "What?" She's like, "You have to sing. What is this?" Because it was the first time she heard me sing. So she said, "You have to sing." Now I get goosebumps because it was such a moment. Like I remember it so like, clearly. And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Of course." And she was like so convinced. And I'm like, "Okay." And then actually my boyfriend at that time was a musician, and we had a studio like at home, and so it was so easy for me to start actually recording, because after that I was like, "Oh, maybe I should do this." And so I gave it a shot, and I threw because I had a lot of musicians around me, like I was hanging out with musicians, and so I sent my vocal demo to this guy called Håkan Lidbo, who's a very known producer internationally, but also in Sweden. And now he does mostly like RT installation things. But I sent it to him, and he replied. He actually called me, and he said, "I really like this. Could you come over to the studio?" And I did, and that's how I signed my publishing deal. And ever since, I've been with the same publisher, Misty Music. Well, first it was through him, but then it was Misty Music in Stockholm. They're quite known. And actually, ever since, so that's how everything started. That's when I understood that, okay, oh wow, like I can actually do this. And that's when I connected with mostly Swedish producers in at start, and then also musicians abroad. Yeah.
That that's amazing. I love that story, and yeah, I did hear a similar story of that before, and from a
Yeah.
previous interview. And
Yeah.
first of all, my condolences to your father
Yeah. Thank you.
from
Thank
last
you.
year,
Yeah.
and to also, a massive shout out to your friend who had passed away, who gave you this inspiration, because
Yeah.
that's incredible that you've come so far from somebody just giving you that push and courage.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was really something. I think it's so important. I think it actually like makes me think of how important it is in everyday life, that if you feel that somebody has a talent, or and then you're like, yeah, but this person probably knows it, or like, oh, he knows it or she knows it. Like, no, it's not sure. Like, and it doesn't matter. So maybe like that's what this person needs to hear, and maybe you will think, yeah, but she heard it so many times, or he heard it so many times. It doesn't matter. No, say it, because it can make a big difference. Because a lot of people, and especially like creative people, I think sometimes suffer from like struggling with self-confidence, or sensitive people usually, like. So I think it's very important. I think for me it was like the switch, like the track, the switch. But yeah, it was very important, because I'm not going to criticize my parents, not at all, but I didn't really hear that from them. Do you know what I mean? So it's like my mom thought that I should be in fashion, like, create fashion, like, whatever. And my dad thought probably that, okay, she's gonna paint and stuff. I don't know, whatever. But so I didn't even have that idea. So it's quite interesting.
Well, what's fascinating too is I'm sure you've practiced over the years with your voice and probably taken some lessons, but one thing that you have that
Uh,
is very rare from singers, and this isn't to knock on the many singers that are around the world, but
yeah.
it's what's truly rare is that your voice it's soft, angelic, but it's also full of emotion, but fierce when it needs to be. And that's a talent that doesn't come easy. I mean, how do you that magical ability of getting emotion across the way you do is truly, truly incredible.
Wow, thank you. Um, Thank you so much. The thing is that yeah, I do. I'm kind of like switching between the soft voice, which is like kind of like a probably people who listen to like Sunset that I did with Lifelike or Silicon Love that I did with Lifelike also. It is very soft, vocal. And the Sunset, for example, that was released on Alan Brack's label. And the thing is that like I have this soft voice kind of, and then I have this more like what I did with Hazy Paradise, for example, is that I would, alternate. Is that how we say alternate
Yeah,
between kind of like almost two states, where it's the soft and the little bit seductive or soft voice with the more but intentionally more powerful, strong, crescendo kind of voice when you want to lift the track. It's like taking off really, and I can't record anything that I don't feel. So if I'm recording something, then I need to feel it. So if I'm recording a vocal, I have to feel it 100%. Otherwise, I get bored, and then I would
yeah.
just close the track. And I'm like, no, you know what? No, forget about it. I'm gonna just go and have a cup of coffee and just do something else. If I don't feel it, and there are many moments like when I'm like, no, I'm just, I'm thinking about other things or I'm just not inspired. But if I am inspired, it's quite silly probably if you would watch me in the studio, it probably would look quite silly because then I'm gonna jump like up and down like a child and I'm gonna just sometimes scream and because I'm so happy because I just nailed it, which means what do I mean by nailing it? Okay, so one thing is to nail obviously the pitch and the tone and that it sounds good. But the other thing is actually to nail the emotion, like that I feel. So if I really want to like express something, like clear, pure emotion, raw emotion, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm really happy that that it seems like it's goes through. What you're telling me now makes me happy because it means that that's exactly how I feel when I record. The way you
Yeah,
described it. Mm.
yeah. Well, it's you're one of those you're one of those singers that can give people goosebumps. Do you know what I mean? Like when you hear a song, it's like, oh wow, and then the goosebumps go and the hair rises. And voices and tones and emotions like that do not come easy.
Oh wow, thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that from you because it is something that I do think about. Like not like okay, the listener needs to have goosebumps now. It's that I'm having goosebumps, and I hope that you are having goosebumps too. So if we can share that, it's kind of like a communication between me and in this case you. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like being very close to somebody and communicating with them. So even if you're like on the other side of the world listening to me, if you listen to me and it gives you that feeling that I had when I recorded it, then it means that we're close, that you get me basically. So and then it's like a mutual kind of thing happening there. I think it's
It,
quite
it
deep. It's quite deep.
yeah, it is. It's quite deep. It's quite
Mm,
magical. Now,
mm,
throughout the podcast, we'll be sharing previews of your most recent work as well as discuss the background behind those tracks. I
mhm,
know in 2019 you followed up after your 2017 debut album, The Night in Shining Arbor, with your second album release on New Retro Wave Records entitled Strangers on Film.
mhm.
Now, This album is described as a sultry and dreamy album made for the synth lovers out there, and I couldn't agree more. This
Yeah.
was your first solo dive into the synthwave genre, which brings me to my question.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you into synthwave?
Um, I think it wasn't like I didn't plan for it to happen. It just, I guess the thing is that what happened is that usually when I'm like been recording vocals and working with people, the most common like comment that I get from, from friends or people in the business or whatever, they're like, it sounds so 80s. Yeah. And it's like, it sounds so 80s. That's like the most common, like top number one comment. And the thing is that Laurent, Lifelike, and me work very much closely together, and he made this track many years ago that is called So Electric. And So Electric is considered by many people as one of the first synthwave tracks. And maybe I'm wrong now. Maybe I'm gonna get the synthwave fans. They're like, no, that's not true. But that's what I've heard. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The type of music, I wasn't even aware of that some of the music I was doing was synthwave until actually James, my manager, when he heard Hazy Paradise, he was like, well, I'm gonna check with NRW, NRW, which is like the biggest synthwave label.
Mm-hmm.
And Laurent Life like already released there, for example, and then James said, well, let's see what New Retrowave says. And I remember at that time also there was an interest from another label as well. I don't remember which one it was for the album, but then James told me, but New Retrowave, they're interested in releasing this. And then we were like, okay, so we have two labels here, and the other one was a kind of a big label as well. But then I was like looking at New Retrowave and how active they are on social media, how big fan base they have, how passionate they are about the genre, how active, they're just there, they're just out there. They're very like that. And then I was like, okay, James, let's go for New Retrowave. I think I just feel this, you know. And that's suddenly when that happened, then suddenly I got like all this response, and because New Retrowave reaches out to so many listeners, so suddenly I was like, okay, so actually I'm a New Retrowave artist. I never like labeled myself, you know what I mean? Or like a synthwave artist. And then so it wasn't anything planned. It's just the kind of music that I do. But
Yeah.
then, but at the same time, releasing on New Retrowave was a true blessing for me, because it opened up a totally different new world for me, and I've got in contact with so many fans, so many sweet people. Sometimes mean comments on YouTube and such, but I don't care about that. It's like if you start to see those mean comments, then you know that you're doing something right. So it's like,
I was just about to say the exact
yes,
same
it's
thing.
always going to be, but mostly like fantastic comments, so it just happened that James. So it's thanks to James and thanks to Laurent as well, but thanks to James for presenting this to them, and them thinking that, okay, let's do this. Because if you listen to Hazy Paradise, it's not really like totally synthwave all the way, but it's difficult to say what is synthwave, what is not synthwave. Do you know what I mean? It's quite
Yeah,
broad.
there's such a broad spectrum when it comes to
Yeah.
synthwave.
And
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking also about the upcoming album now, that some people will say, but this is not synthwave. The synthwave police is definitely be there.
Yeah, watch out for the synthwave
So
police.
I
They
don't know,
can.
did I answer your question? I'm sorry, I was like talking for ages, but yeah.
Oh no, you totally did. You absolutely did.
Great.
And
Thanks.
I mean, and speaking of Strangers on Film as well, I mean, the one thing I wanted to touch on is
Mm.
I loved your take on "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" by Cyndi Lauper.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite different. It was soft, it was sweet, and I have to ask, moving forward with future releases, can we as listeners get more covers by you? Because I love that spin on that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
really did.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So yes, I actually have one planned. I have to check that, but I do have another cover plan. Somebody told me, one of the people that I work with, he was like, "You have to do this cover." Like I'm not gonna say which one it is because, well, I mean, I could say, but at the same time, no, I like the the little surprise thing. I think I'm gonna do, yeah, probably a little cover, and I hope that you guys will like it. I think you will. The thing is that with the girls just want to have fun. The funny thing was that when it was released, at this, like I already planned that a year ahead before that. Oh, I mean, it was the producer that I worked with, Johan Emmott, a Swedish producer. He told me that it was his idea and he made the track. Like he remade the track. And when I released the track, then I saw that Chromatics at the same time released a cover of that, the same song. So I was like, okay. So it was out at the same time with Chromatics. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna work on more covers. I mean, it's nice that you tell me because
Yeah,
it makes me think that okay, maybe I should do that more.
yeah. I mean, I love when artists do covers. Like one of my favorite things when it comes to a release from an artist, and this is just me being selfish, um,
Okay, it's
is like
okay.
when yeah.
You are excused. But
When an album or when an artist releases a full album, like let's say, 10, 11, 12 songs, my most
yeah.
favorite thing that an artist can
Uh-huh.
do with an album is tell a story. Is like when you start off with track one and you get to track 10 and it tells an
Mm-hmm.
entire story, and then like
Mm-hmm.
off to the side there's these two cover tracks. That's my best album right there. Like that's any album like that is amazing to me. But I just love
Wow.
I love hearing
Wow.
spins. I love hearing spins on covers.
Okay, that's great. So I will sing it to you later. I mean, I would love to share this, but I need to like check that with the producers. It's always this thing, checking with all the people involved, obviously. But I do have it in. I could sing it, but I'm not gonna do it now. But it's amazing track, and I think now I have a post-it here, so I'm gonna write a little note to myself. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. So yeah. Uh, what else do you want to know? Tell me.
Well, fast forwarding to the spring of 2020, where your third album, entitled Hazy Paradise, one that we were just mentioning, was released with its hit single The Vibe, which is the very first track that introduced me to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with tracks like The Switch, Deja Vu, Matters of the Heart, Hazy Paradise, and The Vibe, it's perfect for delving into the night hour, as it says on Bandcamp. And
Mm.
now we'll be sharing a 45-second clip from one of my favorite songs from the album called The
Mm-hmm.
Switch and diving into the background of that track. But before we do,
Mm-hmm.
what was the inspiration behind Hazy Paradise? It truly is a magical album from start to finish.
Thank you. What was the inspiration of A Hazy Paradise? Um, so, I mean, all the tracks have like different emotions or like different moods and different. It's like kind of like going on a journey, right? Um, so I would say that it's kind of like difficult to say the overall thing. I mean, I would say it's a journey, and it's a journey in a kind of like a dreamy world, and it's kind of magical. It's very magical, and it's full of emotions, and it's all glittery and it's all purple, and it takes you hopefully to a place that you have seen in dreams or you have seen in movies, and like a place, kind of like a place that it's outside the normal everyday life, takes you away on a magical journey, and something that all of our minds can reach, either physically or just mentally, just being somewhere that is a little bit more than everyday life, a little bit of that extra thing, and just takes you on a natural high. That's what I would say. It sounds maybe very like hippie like, but that's the best that I can,
Well,
that's the thing that I
no
can,
wonder.
yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Do you
it's
get
it's,
me?
it's no wonder I love it. It's no wonder I love it because I mean, purple, magical, dreams,
Yeah,
emotion, everything I love. So
I
it's no wonder.
know. I
It's
feel
no
that.
wonder.
Yeah. Yes, it's just that there is magic everywhere, and there's magic inside your mind. And it's limitless, and you don't have to go anywhere. You just go and travel inside your mind, and it will take you places you've never been before. You know what I mean? That's Hazy Paradise.
I love it. Now, let's not keep the audience waiting anymore and let's share a taste of that magic with them. So, here is a 45-second clip of the switch off of Yota's second album, or sorry, third album,
Yes.
Hazy Paradise. So what I love about the switch is, from my perception, the lyrics talk about a person who is stuck, whether it be stuck in their job, trapped in a routine, or something like depression. Whenever I hear it, I get motivation and ambition from a spiritual sense when I hear this song, which brings me to wanting to know how these lyrics came to be and what is the true meaning behind this great track.
Mm, yeah, I would say that the switch is about like actually having this like a very strong passion. I mean, it might sound cheesy, but that's the truth. Like feeling very strongly about something, just holding back, and it might be for months or years, or and it can be in any kind of like a situation in your life when you're holding back and you're not, you know what you want, you feel it, you maybe, you just know it, but you're just holding back. And there's so many people being stuck in different situations. Fear is a big factor as well. And just holding back because of fear or because of other things. But usually fear is that's triggering this, blockage. Okay, so it's actually about the switch is about suddenly just saying, you know what, I'm not gonna swear, but like saying just, you know what, I'm just gonna do it, and just jumping, just taking that big jump and not being afraid anymore. Or maybe because you reached that point where you've been trying to compromise with yourself to the you know um, kind of like a point where you're like, okay, well, you know what, I just gonna take the jump and see what happens, because you have to be true to yourself. So this can cover a lot of different kind of areas in your life. Of course, it can be relationships, or it can be, mental state, or it can be, showing who you really are to people, towards, when you're afraid. It's just, being honest to yourself, and just doing what you feel like and what you want to do. And that's what the switch is all about. On a deeper level, that's what it's all about, just being free.
Yeah, and that's probably why I love it so much. And speaking of fear too, like
Yeah.
mindfulness is destroyed by fear, and this
Yeah.
song makes you want to be more mindful. This wants to get you out of that rut, out of that you're in a trapped state. So you're switching the routine, you're switching you're
Yeah.
switching everything around, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and in a positive way, you're getting yourself out of that fearful state, which then leads to you into a mindful state. So
Yeah.
you know, yeah, that's why I love the track. I really do. When I first heard Hazy
Mm,
Paradise, like there were favorites on there. Absolutely.
mm,
Like I
mm,
mentioned before, there was tracks like Deja Vu, The Vibe,
mm.
but the Switch really, really stood out to me, and I can definitely see why now.
Yeah, because it's like I say in the track, like in the chorus, I say this is the way we're free, and we just won't stay away from it again. And the thing is that, I mean, if there's really something that you really want to do and you stay away from it just because society thinks that you should, unless it's obviously it's something that is not correct. I don't know what to say, like illegal or something. I'm not talking about those kind of things, but I mean like otherwise. If you just stay away because it's like you feel that people will judge you and stuff, then it's just like, no, 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 no. Life is here and now. So do whatever you feel like doing as long as you're being kind to yourself and to others. So it's really about being free and just because yeah, it's a cliche, but the thing with cliches is that usually they're true. So
Yeah.
like life is too short. And that is really something. So that's what the switch is all about. So I'm glad you like it. Yeah.
I
I'm
love
very much,
learning
I have
about
I
that.
have a very rebellious side inside, and I think I let that side come out much more lately, and it's probably showing maybe in the kind of like in the lyrics that I write as well. It's like,
Love it.
okay, just go for it kind of mood. Yeah.
Now, jumping to the present, you recently released a beautiful four-track EP with All the Damn Vampires. And if you're not familiar with them, dear listeners, then I highly suggest checking their collaboration with Sunglasses Kid and their single entitled Saturday. But getting back to the new EP, how did this collaboration come to be? And will there be more in the future with All the Damn Vampires? And because you guys worked really well together.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was Davey from All the Damn Vampires who contacted me. It was after Hazy Paradise, and it was in the middle of lockdown. And I have received like I did receive a lot of like tracks and stuff. And then I remember I was on the balcony, and because there was not, it was like maybe Friday or Saturday night, and there was not so much to do because everything was closed. But I was having a good time. It was like, April maybe or something last year. And then I was like, okay, I received like three tracks from this guy, and I was like, I don't know who it is, or I didn't even check, like I was like, okay, I'm just gonna listen. And then I listened to them, and I'm like, what is this? Because I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen, and I was a bit like, because it's not like I didn't care, but it I was just not at that point. I wasn't expecting, I don't know why, but I was in a different, I was thinking about other things and stuff. And then when I play like these three tracks, I'm like, who is this guy? What is this? And then I'm like, I love it. And I sent Davey, like, I sent him a message and I said, I love this. I want to do this. Like, I would love to do a print screen of that message, actually. I was like, I love this. I want to do this. I love it. And then after I checked, who is this guy? Because it doesn't matter. If it's good, it's good. You know what I mean? Then actually I checked, and Davey is actually he's obviously he is All the Damn Vampires, but he's also the keyboard player from Korn. Korn.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and I'm like, wow, this is because then we started to talk about. I was like, oh, but you're actually the keyboard player from Korn. He's like, yeah, he was, humble and stuff. And I said, yeah, but actually, and then we started to refer to rock because I used to be like listen to rock music. So we started to refer to all these rock tracks, and we love the same tracks, and we were like, wow. And then we just connected, and basically, I think Dave is extremely talented, and I love the fact that he's a very good guitar player as well. Okay, so he has we just share the same kind of like raw emotion thing there. So we can only almost kind of like, I'm not gonna say we can only do good music, but do you know what I mean? Like the ingredients is there. Like we just feel the same way about the same kind of music.
Yeah,
So
you have good chemistry.
there is a chemistry definitely there, and such a lovely, kind person. And then we just wrote these four tracks for the EP that were mixed by Lifelike, and I'm really happy with this one. And it's more, it has I don't know if you thought about it, but it has a gothic kind of feel to it, which I like
Mhm.
a lot. Yeah,
Yeah, it really does. It has that gothic spiritual kind of vibe to it.
yeah, yeah. So
My two favorite tracks on the EP are Tame You and Velvet Skies, which we will be sharing previews of if that's okay with you, Yota.
totally, absolutely. Thank
Sweet.
you.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean,
Mm,
let's start off with a 45-second clip of Tame You off the new EP by All the Damn Vampires and Yota, and then we'll dive into the background of the song. How's that sound?
it sounds perfect.
Now, what a gentle sounding song, but at the same time, the lyrics strike me as a never give up on love situation.
Yeah.
Whenever I listen to it, I can imagine myself in these cool, rainy streets with twinkling lights, almost like after Christmas passes, the snow melts, but the decorations are still up around the city. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
But that's the vibe that I get from that song. I mean, look, how did Tame You come together?
Wow. Yeah, it's Tame You is about maybe like it's obviously about love. Like the core emotion is like pure love. But then like even if you have like pure love and like okay, so then you have like pure love. It's somebody puts it on the table. So this is pure love. Okay, okay, you know it, you feel it because when you feel it, you know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then there's all these other factors in life that might, complicate things. And everybody has their own, kind of experiences and their own fears and stuff. So let's say that you would face somebody where, like, you feel that. Now I'm talking just in like a how do you say an idea or like a dream or like doesn't have to be have to be reality, but it could be reality as well. But like when you're just facing love and you're like okay, but there are too many like complicated factors around it, and then you're like okay, so what am I going to do with this? And then you kind of like try to avoid the situation and just escape it, but you can't because the sound of the voice is so loud. And what is the voice? It's love, of course. And like the voice, the sound of the voice of love is the highest one, usually. That's the one that you're gonna hear. That's like the tone or the note that you cannot get out of your ears. And then you just kind of like have to face it or you have to deal with it. And that's kind of what it Tame You has to do. It's about actually meeting somebody where who is maybe probably afraid of love, whereas you're not, and you kind of like want to show them where that you could take them. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying I'm your driver. For example, let's see what I say. I'm your driver. I'll take you home. Like actually, like trying to communicate that it's okay. You don't have to be afraid. You can trust me. So it's like, okay, I will take you home. I will lead you along the way and take you home and show you, because you can see the road and you can see the destination, but maybe they can't because they're traumatized or they're afraid. So it's like actually about love but also like um, trying to tame something very wild. So it's a very passionate song, but it's also very romantic in a way. So it's very gothic. But it's basically, I don't know if I'm answering your question.
Oh yeah, yeah, you totally are. I mean, I think I get it from like tame you isn't like tame you literally. It's taming the mental like as you said like you're ready for love, but the person isn't ready for love and they're
Yeah,
scared of it.
yeah,
And you're taming that fear in them.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you're taming that fear and showing them that they can trust somebody again. That
Hmm.
it's okay. They can trust that, that there is, you can trust me. I will drive you home. I will lead you back to the state or to the place where you actually could open up and love. And I will take you there, even though you've been through some difficult experiences. You can trust me. I will never ever make you, how do you say, I will never hurt you. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's so, and I think one of the most beautiful things you can actually say to somebody or show to somebody is that I will never hurt you. I will always be there for you. That's kind of like one of the most beautiful things you can do to somebody else. I think that's, I don't know if you agree, but that's how I feel. I will never hurt you. I will always be there for you. That's like bigger than anything else for me personally, at least. And that's what this track is all about.
I agree too. I agree completely. And now the lyrics in Tame You are very well written, and you wrote all the lyrics on the EP, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Now I know everyone has a different approach when it comes to writing lyrics, but where did you
Mhm.
get that creative process? Where do you get that inspiration from?
I think it started with when I start to record the vocal, because already like here it was very easy because Davey sent me these amazing instrumentals. So I just followed the mood of his instrumental. You know what I mean? So we would have to ask him if that's like, for example, Tame You, if it resonates with the feeling that he had when he made it. Um,
Okay.
Probably does, maybe, I don't know. But do you know what I mean? So I'm just like, I listen to the song and then I see these images and this story, and it just becomes, comes alive, and then that's how I start with the lyrics.
Because everybody just has like I've spoken to many artists, and everybody
Hmm.
has a different side of how they approach lyrics. Like some people write lyrics before they record, then others people have an instrumental first, and like there's just so many different ways that they do it. And then when lyrics are out, and then you hear the song and
Yeah.
you hear everything expressed, it's amazing how it all comes together.
Yeah, that's also an interesting way to work. I never do that. I never write lyrics before, unless maybe I have like some ideas of things, like a couple of sentences and stuff. But usually, it's usually the instrumental that it has that brings me to places. That's how I work. Yeah.
And getting into our third and final preview of the podcast, Velvet Skies.
Mm.
Now, between the two, I think this one is my favorite. It's soft, but it has this futuristic dream vibe to it. And getting back to the lyrics, I love the lyrics on this track. So
Mm.
before we dive into the background of the track, here's a 45-second clip of Velvet Skies from Yota and All the Damn Vampires.
It's getting harder to control the forces in me. They're sending shivers down my spine when you are near me. Repeating images all over me. Your velvet skies. You make me lose my mind. You make me lose my mind. You make me lose my mind. I can't control it. Can't control it.
Another beautiful love song. I tell you, love songs never get old, Yoda. I mean, coming from all different perceptions and feelings, Velvet Skies makes you, or at least me, feel
Mm-hmm.
wrapped in powerful emotions, like a person who makes you feel in control, but
Yes.
not in control at the same
Yes.
time, which sometimes is a great way to explain the feeling of love. I mean,
Mm.
now where did the inspiration of Velvet Skies come from, Yoda?
Oh my God, this is pure passion. This is raw passion. It cannot become more raw and like clear and strong. It's very it's emotion times 1,000 times. I don't know, turbo emotion. Um, I think this has to do with when you get that feeling that you can just you can't control, what you're feeling. You just gonna you have this drive, and you just have to follow this drive, no matter what. And it's about raw emotion, and it's about life. And I don't know how to say it in another way. It's just about passion. I can't, describe it in another way to put it into other words, because that would be lying. It's raw passion.
It's raw passion.
Dots.
That's well, no wonder I love it then. No wonder it's my
Yeah.
favorite song because I mean raw passion. I mean I'm sitting here listening to the track and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. And I'm getting all these feelings and the goosebumps I was talking about earlier.
Oh,
And I'm just like, this is my favorite song from the EP. I mean, they're all great. They're all great.
yeah, yeah.
But Velvet Skies really hit a chord with me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's all. I think this EP is all about like kind of like a very wild, passionate mood, wild, passionate state of mind, a kind of like a very active, alive kind of thing. So when you feel that you're alive, and you feel that you're very passionate, and you feel like you are kind of like just out there kind of vibe. It's not a passive. It's not like this kind of EP where you're gonna listen to it and you're just gonna read a book or something.
Yeah.
That sounds so weird. You know what I
No,
mean?
I
It's
get
not
it.
like
I get
Zen
it. Yeah, I
music.
get it.
It's not Zen music. It's not talking to you Zen. It's more like initiating things, and being wild, and being wild and out there, and just fire. It's very fiery and passionate release. That's it. I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you and all the damn vampires can do all of that within 4 songs, I can't imagine what you guys do if you collaborated again on a bigger album.
And that would be awesome. We did talk about it, so that would be awesome. And it's really easy to work with Davey. He's a very polite and kind and honest person. Is a really really nice person, and I hope to meet him in real life one day as well, because I have not, because of the COVID situation. Obviously, he's in LA as well, so it's a bit far, but he's an awesome person, like a very genuine kind, fantastic person. Voila.
Well,
Yeah.
shout out to him as well, all the damn vampires, and definitely go check out all their material as well outside of everything with Yota. But definitely purchase the new EP that has Yota involved, because you will not be disappointed.
Thank you.
Now, you are welcome. And now we have about 5 minutes left in the podcast, and at this point of the show, I
Mhm.
love learning about my guests outside of music. I mean, we all have
Mhm.
hobbies, special interests,
Mhm.
favorite TV shows, movies, outdoor activities, favorite
Mhm.
food, etc. I'm sure our listeners would love to learn a thing or two about you outside of music. Would that be okay?
That's totally okay. I love that.
So where do we begin outside of music with Yota,
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing that I'm thinking about is that I really love psychology. I really love psychology, and it's kind of like very closely linked to kind of like my other job that I have. And I can tell you that I have another job, and I'm actually working as a psychic and a tarot card reader, but I'm also working as a personal coach, and actually talking to people. Just sometimes people call me, so I've done this for years, many years now. But some people call me just to talk. So they need somebody to talk to, and it's usually matters of the heart. It's funny that I say that, because I have a track called Matters of the Heart. But anyway, so it's like, people call me because they're like unhappy in love, or they're divorced, or they're like just feeling lonely or whatever. So I'm working as a psychic, but I'm also working a lot with psychology. So I'm extremely intelligent. That's not what I wanted to say. I'm extremely interested in psychology, and I've been reading a lot about psychology. So that's something that maybe you didn't know about me. So I love to sit just and chat with my friends also, and talk about, why do you feel like that? I love to analyze things. I love to find a source of why somebody's behaving in a special way. Where does it come from? Because if you start to, dig deep, then you usually find the answer. And I love that. And I love to help. So like having, like talking to my friends and my clients and stuff, and feeling that I can help them brings me so much joy. And kind of like trying to sometimes be the rock. Do you know what I mean?
I
Like,
do,
yeah, like trying
and
to be the rock, like trying to be like, if especially if I feel like somebody feels like they're like sinking, like I'm sinking because I can't handle this divorce, or I can't handle this guy cheating on me, or I can't handle being alone. Then what I really love to do is to say, no, 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 no. It's like, stop, pause, I'm here, I will help you. And it gives me so much. It gives me so much, like, I just love that feeling to be able to do something. Do you know what I mean?
I really, really do. And the fact that you're, I mean, I love the spiritual side of being a psychic, and I have 2 diplomas under the psychology banner. So
Ooh, yeah.
kind of.
Oh,
Yeah, I have 2 human services diplomas, and so psychology was always something I was interested in, but I had to put it on the back burner for personal reasons.
uh,
And but spiritual stuff and psychology, there's so much fascination with it, and sitting down with
yeah,
someone, a friend, an acquaintance, and just
yeah.
finding that root of the problem. I kind of like sometimes when people say that, I think it's The Cell with Jennifer Lopez in it from the early 90s or something, or late 90s,
Yeah.
where she goes into people's heads and she finds what happened in this person's life,
Oh,
and she's able
yeah.
to sit down with this I guess this figment in their mind, and
Mm-hmm.
talk with it, deal with it, and that's how they heal mental health. And I
Wow.
feel at the
Mm,
same time that's kind of how we can do things. If we sit down with somebody, yes, medication can help with certain situations,
yeah.
but if we take the time to sit down and listen,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it's going to be a long listen,
Yeah.
but we gotta, we gotta stop and smell the roses, and we gotta
Mm,
do that same thing with people.
mm,
We gotta
yeah.
stop and say, hey, how's things going? What's new? Oh, I'm actually asking. I'm not just saying, how are you?
Mm,
And then this conversation
mm,
is gonna last 5 seconds.
mm,
You
mm,
know, it's
mm,
how are you?
mm,
And like, if anybody's listening to this at some point and they have somebody next to them, just look at them and just go, how are you? And then
exactly.
let's, because there's a huge difference between just saying how are you 5 seconds later, moving on to something else, or how are
Mm-hmm.
you, and listening to where all that's coming from.
Exactly. Like not like as an automated thing, like, hey, how are you doing? Like kind of thing, but actually asking, hey, looking at this person, or if you're not in the same room, because, you can be on the other side of the world, but it's like, hey, wait, it's like, how are you doing? And then just
Hmm.
stopping and just actually listening, and actually like paying attention to everything that this person is saying, all the details, putting that effort. It's not even an effort, but you know what I mean, like, just, and listening to what the person has to say, analyzing and trying to help them, like
Hmm.
just a pure emotion to try to just be there for somebody. And I really do feel that I love to do that. Like that's why probably I still work with that, because I really enjoy. And actually, the interesting thing is that some of my clients are in the psychology themselves. I have clients that are into psychology or working as psychologists. So it's of course, yeah. So it's interesting. I love what I do, and I think, I mean, except for the music, and I think that it's, when my clients call me, they can feel that I, then I don't know, like for probably like when I start to tour, because I think it's going to happen after the COVID situation here, then I will not be able to do that as much, but I can always continue later on. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I mean, we're near the end of the podcast now, but I mean, I would love, in a future podcast, to learn about where this psychic journey came from. I mean, that would be great for
Oh,
a part 2.
yeah. Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, maybe later on in the year we'll have you back on for part 2. We'll share some recent material and we'll find out just where this journey all started.
I would love to. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Yeah, I would love to do that.
And thank you for sharing all that. Now, before we end things, what is on the horizon for Yota as we start diving into the second part of 2021?
There is the album that is almost done. I'm almost there. I see I see everything becoming like something, and I have the title. I already told you. I think it's gonna be called Lucid Dreams.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm almost there. And so my album is the next thing that I'm putting all my time and effort and passion into, my heart and soul, and that's what I'm finishing at this very moment. I still have, so I'm a little bit late, but I still have 1.5 tracks to finish, so it's better than a couple of days ago where I had 3 tracks. So I'm at 1.5 tracks ready. So, and then we have Lucid Dreams that is born, and then I will hand it over to James, to my manager, James. And I want to thank James. I need to thank him. He's just amazing. I'm so proud to have, and like, I'm so happy to have him as my manager. He's so good. So now we'll hand it over to James, and he will take it from there. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, this has been an amazing time with you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It was an absolute honor to spend this time with you. Now, could you share your social media with everyone so people know where to find and purchase your material?
Absolutely. I just also remembered that I forgot a very important collaboration that I do have, if I can say, if I can add that. I'm working with a band called Night Drive. Night Drive, this amazing synth indie pop band from Houston. They're amazing. And we worked on 2 tracks, and I'm really looking forward to release those 2 tracks as well. I don't know where yet, but yeah, we have some interesting things, I can't share that yet, but I have to say that that's a very interesting collaboration also with the boys. And I wanted to say that. But yes, I would say Instagram is the, now where I'm the most active. So it's Yota official artist. That's where you can find me on Instagram or Spotify or Facebook. I'm not that much on Facebook, and Twitter, I'm not at all on Twitter. I do have an account, but I'm never there. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your socials. And as for our socials, you can find us at SoundCloud under Lotus Moon Productions, Facebook under Lotus Moon Productions, Instagram under Lotus M Productions, Spotify under LMP Music, Twitter under Lotus Moon Prod, and you can search us on YouTube under Lotus Moon Productions. And be sure to head over to the YouTube page to check out Yota, Blake Carpenter, Elevate the Sky, and Vlad telling you all about what's coming in 2021 from our little conversation that we had last week that we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast. So with all that, this has been LMP Music. Please be safe. Please be kind to one another. And with that, we are signing off.